Hi, you're watching West Bloomfield 911. I'm your host, Tim Shepard, and on behalf of Chief Michael Patton and my Deputy Chief, Kurt Lawson, as well as my brothers and sisters in blue, I'd like to welcome you all to the show. Joining me today are Pam Zajac and Carol Hack, co-chairpersons of the Michigan Week Committee. So Pam and Carol, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for taking the time to come out and talk to me about Michigan Week and community volunteer work in general. I think it's important. Obviously, I know you both. We're on several committees together, so I think the community is very lucky to have both of you, working for them. And today I want to talk specifically about Michigan Week, but I want to know a little bit about you. So Carol, let's start with you. How long have you been doing volunteer work? How long have you been with Michigan Week?
I've been with Michigan Week, I think I joined in 2014 the awards committee.
Okay.
And then I moved up to coming to the committee meetings every month, the general ones.
Okay.
But I hate to say this, I've been volunteering for like 40 years in
That's
West
amazing.
Bloomfield.
You should be proud of that. That's something that's wonderful.
Her and I met. And in fact, most of my friends in West Bloomfield are former volunteers at Scotch School PTO moms.
No kidding.
So we were in PTO together, and we all moved up to the middle school and then to the high school. And there was just lots to volunteer for, and that's what I did. And I got involved with youth assistance when my youngest one was in middle school.
Okay.
And we had, which it's so sad we don't have it now, but we used to have a middle school teen center.
Okay.
And that was connected with youth assistance. And so when it was going to be no more, my friend and I said, well, volunteer, we'll do it. But that meant one of us had to go to a meeting. Okay. And my friend said, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I will. So that was 28 years ago, I think.
For the youth assistance?
For youth assistance, yeah. And for me, it's a hard group to leave.
Okay.
I mean, we've had lots of people come and go, and Deputy Chief Kurt Lawson's the chairperson now. And yes. Parks has always been involved with it also. Okay. So it's a happy group. And then Michigan Week is also a very fun group to be with. The people are fun, and the event is a lot of fun too.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's great. And you know, I know that you kind of giggled and said that you didn't want to say how long it's been, but I think it's important as, you know, I'm in law enforcement, obviously I care about the community. When I see someone like yourselves, both of you, that get involved in not being paid, this is some volunteer work, it's amazing, so you should be proud of that, number one.
Thank you.
Pam, now how about you? How long have you been with Michigan Week? I know you're involved in other things in the community. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. As Carol said, we met when our girls were at Scotch School several years ago, and I was a room mother and PTO and also a Girl Scout leader. Okay. So about 30 years ago, I was hired by West Bloomfield Community Education. Okay. So I was working for them, and actually we did a lot of work right out of this building when it was our district media center.
Okay, nice.
And a lot of television work. So we got it out into the community, and we interviewed a lot of the volunteer organizations and even businesses in the community. Okay. And about 11 years ago, I went into community relations with West Bloomfield School District. So that brought in United We Walk and Michigan Week and a lot of the other organizations.
Well, again, and I just want to reiterate this, community service obviously is important to you, and we value you doing that, and these things wouldn't work without both of you. So we're going to get into a little bit about Michigan Week now. So the community may or may not know what Michigan Week is and how it started. And let's start with, you know, how did this start in West Bloomfield? When did Michigan Week become? When did it become in Michigan? How did it start?
Well, actually, it started in the state a long time ago, and Pam will get into that. So Michigan Week is one of the only communities that are still doing something in the month of May for Michigan Week. And we've been celebrating and recognizing individuals and organizations who give of their time and their talent and their resources for no recognition at all. That's not why people do that. Okay. But when you do get recognized, it's kind of fun to have somebody say, wow, you've been doing a great job, and we're going to put you out in front of everybody and recognize you in front of the whole community.
Now, was this like a national thing when it started?
No.
Like each state had
I don't know if each state did. I
okay.
mean, obviously we're older than you are, but
yeah.
when we were in elementary school, Michigan Week was a big thing.
Okay.
I mean, we did something all the time for Michigan Week. I think even my kids might have done something for Michigan Week, but no, they don't do that anymore.
Okay.
But West Bloomfield, Greater West Bloomfield as a community does this community breakfast to recognize our volunteers as individuals in whatever groups they might be in.
Okay.
And we also recognize the groups and organizations as a whole also.
Okay, amazing. And how is Michigan Week celebrated?
So, well, just to get back to the history, you asked
Okay.
when it started.
Yeah.
It did start in 1950 for the state of Michigan.
Okay.
And that's when Michigan's economic development director, his name was Don Weeks, he formed a vision for a way to unite business, labor, and government from communities across the state under one banner to sort of celebrate the state of Michigan. And in 1954, they actually started it. So it took them 4 years to sort of develop the whole idea.
Okay.
But started with the groundbreaking ceremony for the Mackinac Bridge.
Nice, okay.
So that was Michigan Week itself. And then we got on the bandwagon, I think, in
A lot of communities did. We just
47
kept it
years
up.
ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, it's interesting, you know, the Mackinac Bridge is known probably internationally, but obviously through the country. So it's nice that that started right around that time. And it may even have started to kick that off in terms of getting that out there, how proud people are of the community. You know, so where does West Bloomfield fit in with Michigan Week in terms of the bigger picture? How are we, how do we fit in?
Well, our superintendent back in 1972, his name was Dr. Anthony Witham with the West Bloomfield School District. He thought it was time to add Greater West Bloomfield to the list of communities that celebrated. So that's how we got involved.
And then I'd like to add that we use the word greater
Okay.
because the word greater is used all over West Bloomfield for many different things, and it includes the cities of Keego Harbor, Orchard Lake Village, Sylvan Lake, and the township of West Bloomfield.
Okay.
But for Michigan Week, we also encompass the school districts of Bloomfield Hills and Walled Lake and West Bloomfield because some of our students and our volunteers live in West Bloomfield.
Okay.
But they're in the way our district is set up, but they go to different districts.
Okay, sure.
So those two school districts are very large, and they jumped on the bandwagon with us so that we could honor their people also. So that's why greater is always used, because we're greater than West Bloomfield. We're
Okay.
the cities and the school districts.
That's wonderful to be inclusive of the closer communities around us, so those children and adults can be involved in this
Yep.
as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So back then, Dr. Witham called on some of our community leaders, and I know you know our own Pastor Jack Freed.
Absolutely.
And Jeff Lieb, who's an optimist, started both the Optimist clubs, I
Okay.
believe, in West Bloomfield. So he thought that they could brainstorm a week-long celebration of events in West Bloomfield, and that they could celebrate the talent that we have in our community.
Okay, that's great.
And to get back to when Michigan Week started, it was a 7-day-long event.
Okay.
And factories held tours. I think maybe the first auto shows might have been started during that, because
wow.
reading the history, it mentions that cars were showcased in auto shows.
Okay.
And that's when school districts, there was every day had its own theme, which
Okay.
related to special things about Michigan. So one of the days was Education Day, and of course the schools jumped in on that, and that's where I think I remember doing something for Michigan Week.
Oh, okay, nice.
That they had photo contests and poster contests, and then they gave awards out. So at the end of whether it was a 7-day or a 10-day event, there was a community awards breakfast, and that's where we jump in and we keep that awards breakfast going.
Okay.
And so that's the part that everybody liked the best too, because everybody got together and had breakfast together and honored people who did wonderful things in their communities.
Yeah, and I, personally have went to the breakfast myself, and how well it's done, how happy the kids are and the people are that are awarded and that are on stage to be seen by the others. It's wonderful, and I think your committee's done a great job in the past, and I can only imagine how great this year is going to be as well. And last year it was based on, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was based with like public safety, so the police and the fire.
That was our theme.
It was it was a theme, and we were recognized at that as well. So as an officer, law enforcement officer. I'll speak for the fire department as well. We didn't get into this job to, for thanks or for breakfasts and things like that. But when it happens, it's very nice and it's very touching. So last year was wonderful, and this year is going to be great as well.
And I want to add, it was so much fun putting that together last year. And the chief kind of sat down and helped us too, and he had great ideas about even decorating the table.
He's good.
Yeah, he was really good. So it was fun for us to put together an honor for our police and fire departments, because you put yourselves on the line every day for us. And so when we thought of the theme, of course, we decided that our MC should be our illustrious police chief, Mike Patton. And so we haven't really done that before, matched a theme with an MC, because we didn't always have MCs.
Okay.
But if we think of a theme that can afford an MC that goes along with it, then that's what we do. We've done that again this year.
Yeah, and I look forward to this year's as well. And we're going to talk more about this year and more about Michigan Week after a quick short break. So we're going to take a short break and return with more West Bloomfield 911.
The West Bloomfield Police Foundation raises money to help those who protect and serve the community. Whether it's emotional or financial support, the foundation provides a helping hand to officers, their families, and those in the community. For more information on the West Bloomfield Police Foundation, contact Kurt Lawson at 248-975-8900 or visit wbpolicefoundation.org.
Hello. I'm Lisa Brown, Oakland County Clerk, Register of Deeds. You know to check your credit report, but when's the last time you checked the title to your property? Most likely your home is your biggest financial investment. And deed fraud is on the rise across the whole country. Oakland County is no exception. That's why I worked with Xerox and Google to create our Property Records Notification System. Property Records Notification alerts property owners about potentially fraudulent activity, such as forged deeds and bogus liens. This free service, which is the first of its kind in the United States, makes it possible to receive up-to-date information about a property, making it much more difficult for fraudsters to go undetected. To sign up for our free notification system, please visit ocmideeds.com.
Welcome back to West Bloomfield 911. I'm your host, Tim Shepard. And again, I'm here with Carol Hack and Pam Zajac. Thanks again for coming out today and talking to me about Michigan Week and to our viewers. And I know that, I understand that Michigan Week started to decline in 2010, but it continued here in West Bloomfield, correct?
That was across the state.
Okay.
It started to decline. But we now boast the only original Michigan Week event that's been consistently celebrated since 1972.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And in fact, at one time, the Detroit Free Press stated that we have one of the oldest and the most vibrant Michigan Week celebrations with our breakfast in the whole state. So
Well,
I think we're the Lone Ranger, except for maybe one other.
Maybe one other. Well, it's important that that continues, especially I think that especially last year when I saw how happy the people were that got the awards and were, I say awards, is it actually an award or is it just you're recognizing basically?
It's awards.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's wonderful, and I think especially for the youth it's important that they see that they are awarded for whatever they're being awarded for. I think it's very important in the community. So again, last year's was great. So what do you attribute all this dedication and enthusiasm to?
I think it's the power of community, and that's what we're celebrating this year. One reason is collective wisdom, because no one person has all the answers. So through sharing, we really realize a lot, and it's a great celebration.
Absolutely.
And we have a diverse community, so all the diversity lends to making it a wonderful celebration, and we try to include people on the committee for that. Like she said, I think it's the power of community. Our community is great at doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
We push our limits. Working together toward a similar goal always gives support and friendly competition. So we work pretty good together.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, you do, absolutely.
It's been 35 years since we met, so.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job on this Michigan Week for sure, and I think that I noticed that as well as the other community leaders, as well as the citizens. So to keep things interesting, I know that each year you celebrate with a different theme. We talked a little bit about last year. Can you talk about some past themes or talk about what's coming up?
Sure. This year, our theme is celebrating our, oh dear, what is it? Celebrating
It's called Follow Our Trail.
Follow Our Trail, celebrating community connections. That's a long theme. It's probably the longest theme we've ever had, and of course I have to go blank.
Yeah.
But last year, like I said, our theme was about public safety, and we had Chief Patton be our MC. So this year we're having our executive director of West Bloomfield Parks as our MC, and she has a quote that I really like. I want to read. She said.
Well, one of the reasons that we started with that West Bloomfield Trail was because we have, or with the trail, is because of our West Bloomfield Trail. And it stretches for 7 miles through our municipality, and it's one of the wettest in the nation, boasting 28 lakes, 150 ponds, and 3,500 acres of wetlands. So that is where the theme came in, Follow Our Trail, celebrating community connections.
Right. So as well as recognizing outstanding volunteers in our community, we also wanted to recognize West Bloomfield as a unique landscape and the opportunities that it provides for our leisure and family enjoyment. So we wanted to shine a light on our beautiful West Bloomfield system. So the MC this year will be Jennifer Tucker, and the quote I was referring to, she said, the West Bloomfield Woods Natural Preserve is our own little bit of up north right here in West Bloomfield.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's beautiful. I've been on it obviously multiple times because I work here and enjoy this community, and it is beautiful. The whole West Bloomfield in general is a beautiful community, and it's so diverse from the lakes further north. We have more of our commercial area down south, but it doesn't matter what part, north or south. It's just so diverse and beautiful, and the trails are wonderful. As far as this year with the theme, I know that you are working very hard on that, and because of the trails, I know I don't want to give anything away, so I'll be quiet on all that. But it's a great celebration, and we appreciate that. So, as far as the theme, how do you guys determine the theme? Is it a collaboration? Do you just sit around and decide, hey, what do you think this year?
Exactly.
We've got a pretty good sized committee.
Yes.
Yes,
so
there is.
we brainstorm. The chairperson will sit down and say, okay, we have to pick a theme for this year. And everybody just starts throwing out ideas. And last year, I don't know that we always had a theme. There was speakers in previous years, and now we use an MC, so we try to...
we followed the theme of Michigan, the state of Michigan, for a while.
Oh, that's true.
Because one year it was the magic of Michigan.
You're right. You're right. She knows because she worked on the programs. But yes, she's right. That this community followed the Michigan State themes. And since Michigan State doesn't do that anymore, we had to come up with our own. So, we just sit around and brainstorm.
That's great.
What does anybody think we should celebrate this year?
Yeah,
what do you think we should be doing?
It's a collaborative effort, right?
I somebody comes up with an idea?
Well, when you collaborate in a group environment, I think that really benefits the community, right? Because you have diverse perspectives on what's important and what's going to be nice and what works. And it definitely shows a democratic process because everyone works together. I know you're the co-chairs, and I know that you, but it's not like you sit there and you have a gavel and preside over it. I think it's a very easygoing group that works really well together. And so I'm on the committee. And I know
of which you are a member.
I am, and so I'm bragging for myself, obviously. But I do think that it's a great group, and you've done wonderful work. And so how does the community participate with the celebration?
So the most important thing is nominating local volunteers who you'd like to honor for their selfless contributions. And that could be anybody. It doesn't have to be some adult that's been working for years like Carol. Well deserved. But students also in our school district are recognized as well.
Amazing. Yep. And can you explain the process to our audience?
Sure. Well, there's several categories. And the first one is called Hidden Treasure Honor Roll, and it's non-competitive. So whoever gets nominated by an individual or a group, like say Youth Assistance always has somebody, the Police Foundation always has somebody, Parks and Rec always, West Bloomfield Parks always has somebody. So they all get honored. It's not competitive, so if you nominate somebody for that first honor, they're in.
Okay.
So, and so we invite businesses and clubs and faith organizations. Let's see, who else is there? There's the schools, obviously,
Okay.
can have somebody volunteered for that, or excuse me, nominated for that honor.
Okay.
Or award, I should call it. But yeah, and that's the first one.
Okay.
And then there's the Community Achievement Award, which honors community organizations for a project that accomplishes something that benefits the greater community.
Wonderful.
And then, of course, talking about our beautiful West Bloomfield, a few years ago we instituted Environmental Stewardship Award, which also salutes local caretakers of our planet, which includes our natural resources. And, you know, the leaders in environmental stewardship are very passionate about their conservation of our land and our water and our airways. So we thought that would be fitting to add to our awards for Michigan Week in West Bloomfield.
I agree.
And the Lifetime Leadership Award salutes an individual who makes a special contribution on projects that further the cultural, civic, educational, or spiritual aspects within the community.
Amazing.
And then in honor of our former Dr. Gretschko, our superintendent, who passed away, I don't know, about 15 years ago, and everybody loved him. So Michigan Week people, and I wasn't on the committee then, came up with 2 honors. We can give an award to an individual, just one individual, and one group will always receive an award and that's competitive.
Okay.
So we only give out one, and it's for volunteer or professional capacity that demonstrates the advocacy and education of youth, and they play a significant role in that because
that's
he was
great.
all for kids.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And that's the Dr. Seymour
Gretschko.
Gretschko Award,
Okay.
which Carol is the recipient of about 3 or 4 years ago, right?
13.
13?
2013.
What? Well, okay.
I guess.
3 or 4.
4 or 5, I don't know.
2013. is
Yes.
what-
Okay.
And then the last category is the Youth Leadership Award, which is only nominated by a superintendent from each school district.
Oh,
so that
nice.
would be 3 school districts that we recognize.
Okay, that's wonderful. So to clarify this, anyone can nominate someone for Michigan Week.
That's right.
Yes.
So it can be anybody from a teacher to a parent to really anybody.
Yes.
Business
And
person.
anybody can.
Except for that Youth
Youth
Leadership
Leadership.
Award.
Okay, except for the Youth Leadership Award.
Yeah.
And how do you go about the nomination process?
So if you go to michiganweek.org and you click on Nominate Someone You Know, there's a tab right at the top. It'll take you through the process.
And it's michiganweek.org.
Correct.
Okay. And when does this breakfast take place?
Well, this year it's always on a Friday.
Okay.
So this year it is Friday, May 10th, and at the beautiful Bay Point Golf Club.
Okay.
And it's on Richardson Road, and Haggerty Road dead ends practically right into their driveway.
Okay.
So you can't miss it, and it's a wonderful place to be. We try to we have to find a place that will accommodate the large number of people that have been
Okay.
attending in the last few years.
And it's been sold out the last
Few years
yeah.
since it has, and we had to turn people away because
Okay.
they didn't even have a seat for them.
Well, that's
literally
great-
there was no seat.
Yeah, and that's wonderful to show your hard work and that people actually appreciate it. That they want to come.
I think it's not us. I think it's the community. They want to
Absolutely.
be there. They want to see their grandkids. They want to see their daughter-in-laws, their daughters, their sons, their mother. You know,
Okay.
they want to see the people that are getting awarded.
Yeah.
So you have to jump on board early if you know somebody that you love is
Okay.
being nominated. So we have registration starting at whenever you get there. We're there at 6:30. So
Okay.
you start registering, find your table, sit down. Breakfast is served immediately, and we try to keep the program rolling. So we have an invocation. You know, the fire and police department have an honor guard.
Okay.
And the Star Spangled Banner is performed by either a student that sings or a group of kids that play an instrument or a group of kids that sing.
Nice.
So we're very patriotic. I like that.
I do too. And now, as far as how many people it attracts, Pam?
It attracts about 300 people, so it's
Okay.
a pretty big breakfast.
Absolutely.
And those watching might consider supporting the celebration by sponsoring the breakfast. And there's 4 different levels that you could sponsor at. And they'll receive reserved seating, website recognition, press release inclusion, verbal recognition at the breakfast, a video banner, and sponsor listing in the program and a program DVD that they can save forever.
Okay, amazing. And we're running short on time here, but I want to make sure that people know how to reserve seats for this. Can you kind of give me an idea how, for the breakfast itself, how we can reserve that?
It's just as simple as nominating somebody. You can make a reservation for your seat, or actually if you have a table and you want everyone to sit together, you can get online at michiganweek.org also and hit reservation button, and you can sponsor that way also. So you can reserve a seat for yourself or for your table of 10, and you pay through PayPal. It's real simple. Or you can send a check or come in here to the communications building when we're at 4510 Walnut Lake Road, right next to Chico Elementary School.
Awesome.
So,
well, I just want to tell you both, thank you so much, first of all, for coming in today. It was wonderful to hear about Michigan Week. Obviously, I know about it, but I want the community to know about it as well, those that don't know about it, and hopefully we can get that information out. And secondly, thank you for all you do for the community, both of you. You're hardworking, and you're behind the scenes. You never ask for credit, and we appreciate you, so thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
It's my pleasure. I want to thank you for joining us for this episode of West Bloomfield 911. You can keep up with the police department by liking us on Facebook, following us on Twitter and Instagram. You can also sign up for Nixle.com and CrimeMapping.com for the most up-to-date information from the police department. Thank you very much. Take care.